Hi everybody, my name is Erin, and today I'm going to teach you 5 ways on how to use your body at the piano to make things sound better and feel a lot easier. Let's jump right in. If you have a piano by you, hop onto your bench with me and go through these steps with me. Number 1 is how you hold your body and in relation to the piano where you're sitting. So I like to do this test where I take my fists and I put them up at the backboard. You want just a little bit of a bend right here. If you can't reach, then you're gonna need to scoot up. If you're really bent, then you're much too close to the piano. So you wanna keep that good distance that keeps you nice and relaxed, okay? Second is where you're sitting on the bench is important. I like to sit up on the first half of the bench so your feet are nice and flat and you still have weight on your feet. It's going to make it easier to move if you have really high notes or really low notes. So make sure you're sitting on that first part. And if you're a bit too short still, let's say if you haven't grown and your feet aren't reaching the floor yet, I would take some books and put them under your feet so you can feel what it is to have those feet flat while you're playing the piano, okay? So that's number 1. Number 2 is, let's move down our arm here, our arms. I pretend that I have a small beach ball, a mini beach ball right here to keep that space between your body and your elbow. It's really important. If you start to bring your elbows in, this is what happens to my wrists. I call it T-Rex arms. It's very tricky to play the piano if you're a T-Rex. So keep that space between those arms and elbows and it'll be a lot easier to play. We're gonna keep moving down. After your arm, we get to our wrists. This might sound a little bit silly, but I make my students do floppy hands. Okay, floppy wrists to make sure that you are never holding your hands tight and playing like C-3PO, okay? You need to make sure those are really relaxed. Sometimes it's gonna feel more like a bounce. Sometimes it might feel like a painting motion where you're just sweeping the wrist, but whatever it is, and we'll talk about those a little bit more later, whatever it is, it needs to stay really relaxed, okay? Let's keep moving down. After that, we get to our hands. Now, again, I have kind of crazy stories and analogies. Pretend that you have a nice pet hamster in your hand, okay? Very cute, soft. You do not want to squash him. So take him in your hand, flip your hand over, and put it on the piano. That's the space where your hamster lives. That's the space you want to keep while you're playing. As soon as your hands turn to pancakes, turn flat, it's going to be really hard to play and to use your fingers in the right way. So you're going to keep that space there. Those knuckles are going to be the highest point. Awesome. Now, finally, the fingers. Lots of people think you just play with your fingers, but now you know you play with a lot of things. So these fingers, the most important thing is that they never collapse. They stay really strong. And here's what I mean by collapsing. Almost like when you hold a pencil, sometimes your finger can make that collapse shape. Your knuckles are going the wrong way. When you're playing the piano, you want them to stay really firm. Right there on the tip is where you're gonna play, right by your fingernail, okay? So nice and firm, never collapsing. If you can do those 5 things, suddenly playing piano is gonna feel a lot more natural. It's gonna feel easy to you. Now, the last and most important thing that I want to talk to you about is how to use your arms at the piano. So we're backing up to number 3. You don't really play the piano with your fingers. I tell my students and they laugh, but I like to play them with my arms. I pretend I have this string that's wrapped around my wrist. My arm is asleep, it's dead. I pull the string higher, higher, and then someone cuts it. And makes a wonderful, loud sound, okay? I'm gonna show you again. Another way is if someone's there, they can just come lift your arm and then let go. Okay? That is how I want you to play the piano because it means you're not using extra energy. It means you are just relaxing and dropping on every single note. I'm not using any energy to play. I'm just relaxing and it makes a beautiful sound and suddenly you're going to be able to play music that's harder and sounds better from day one. If you guys liked this video and if it's helpful to you, make sure that you like it, and we'll see you in the next one.